Hi, this is Snovonne and welcome to the making of footage of the Snowhite video.
My dreams spit my teeth into my little jar of schemes.
We're now in the Mad Lab scene, and I'm going to introduce you to some of the machines that you see in the video. This first machine is called the Macintosh Hogan, and it was actually an electrotherapeutic machine that was sold in the 1920s, and it's sort of straight out of what you expect in Frankenstein, but it was used originally to lower people's blood pressure and for surgical use, like using sparks, how lasers would be used today. This is something that was just in the background during the video, but one of the oldest electrical artifacts in the US. It's a static generator from Ben Franklin's time, and was actually found in a barn in Philadelphia, but it's classic of something you would have seen in the 1790s to experiment with static electricity. And at that time, Ben Franklin himself could have actually used it because of where it was found.
It was very special and very exciting for me because I usually end up building my own props and building my own requisites, and this was exactly the opposite, because suddenly I find myself in a place where there's so much stuff that I could probably be making videos out of just this one room alone for the rest of my life.
This next machine back here is at Sealy Laboratories. It's called the Vulcan Coil, and it was a portable X-ray machine from about 1907, and still fully functional today. Over here we have some what looks like crude light bulbs, but they're actually early sort of 1880s, 1890s bulbs. The technology existed even since the 1700s, so we think of light bulbs as something kind of new, but technology's been there all around. Below in the cabinet we have some very special items from the personal collection of Kenneth Strickfaden. And Ken was known as Frankenstein's electrician. He's the man that did more than 50 films for Universal Studios. So he was the man that did all of the wild sparks for Frankenstein. And in those films, there were no special effects at that time. If you've seen a 6-foot arc go by someone's head, it was the real thing. The actors had to be there up close and put themselves in danger with all this stuff. And Ken's the man that actually built it all. And these are items from his own private stash of machines.
It was important for me to create a script that it had to simplify the collection that Jeff has, but I also wanted it to be displayed accordingly.
So this machine here we used in the video, Snow was taking sparks, 250,000 volts to her arm in the electric chair. It's the safest one we had available. I didn't want to put her in so much danger. Left the millions of volts for the next video. This next item is classic of what Strickfaden had in this film. It's the Jacob's Ladder, and we built it out of historic items just for Snow's video. And the V is kind of like Snovonne, you know? We had one item in the corner that wasn't really doing anything, but it's an item that has yet to be restored. It's a 1890s Tesla coil. Basically was used as a way of demonstrating high-frequency electricity, which was kind of a new rage. You could light bulbs without wires and that sort of thing. Here's a machine built from sort of materials original to the 1890s, but it was handmade by me 100% here at our museum. Exact replica of the first commercial X-ray machine. And with less than a pound of wire, it puts out 250,000 volts. This machine sitting in the corner was an electrosurgical device, but the eerie shit that you can do with it, I mean, you can cook steak with it if you want. And I mean, whether the steak cooks in 2 seconds or 10 minutes is all up to these rows of buttons and controls on the side.
We see Jeff is quite a fan of Czech culture.
She lends me. This was given to me by Václav Havel. and it was from a collaboration my museum did with Narodny Technické Museum, donated a large Tesla coil there a few years ago. This is a Ritter 1920s dental x-ray, and this is the x-ray tube itself, and x-rays come out of this cone in the end. Twist the thing around and aim it towards someone's mouth, wherever it's going. And the machine itself has a 70,000 volt transformer inside, and all of these wires are completely live when it's operating, so a lot of times the patient would kick the dentist and electrocute him accidentally. That happened quite a few times. But the machine has a power regulator and a sort of a hand timer you can set for how many seconds. And there's a meter on the side you can swivel around so that you know how much juice you're giving to the tube. This is a also 1920s Victor tanning light. It's sort of an ultraviolet source that was used for, well, it was for treating skin conditions, but also you could get a suntan with it, just like the modern lamps. And a lot of times it was used to treat lupus and different very disfiguring diseases that ultraviolet would cure and suddenly bring people back to human again. Really dangerous, puts out a lot of radiation. It's about like, instead of like a modern sun lamp, it's probably about 5 times worse as far as radiation goes, so you can cook yourself in a hurry if you're not careful. For Snow's video, we have a sort of 1930s gramophone that we decorated with some wires, and a collection of some early books, my personal collection, sort of 1890s, early x-ray and medicine. Physiotherapy magazines from the 20s, and creepy dolls.